Good morning. Good morning. Very good. That's a lot better. I know we have lunch in front of me, but I think we can have some energy here going, right? Yeah. It's really, I'm really excited to join with you guys today. It's almost 25 years since I left Wayne State. It was 1990 that I was here. As I was walking through the campus, I was trying to relive some of my memories that I had. So the 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, whatever you're going to be here, would be the best times of your life. So enjoy your stay. So with that, I'll try to share some of my journey, some of my stories, and with the hope that you walk away with some insights that you can put to work. Wayne State is a great place to learn. You know why? Because I was here 25 years ago. No, I'm just kidding. Wayne State has a lot of credibility, and Wayne State really created the foundation for me coming from India 25 years ago. And I'm an entrepreneur now, trying to run a 500 employee company with global locations. So if I could do it, anybody could do it. So that's really the point I'm trying to make. And the key thing, if I were to go back 25 years ago and say, what would I do differently? I think one of the things that I really would do differently would be to have more of connectivity, because that's really what makes you successful in life. And that's really what I learned in the last 25 years since I left Wayne State, is really the connections that we make with people. You know, everybody can read. Everybody can read from the book, Google. You could do whatever you want, but it's really the connections that we make, whether it be at the university or at the workplace, it really makes you successful in life and in business. So that's why I say connections, connections, and connections. And how do you get the connections? I think the idea to do that is to get involved in your student organizations. It could be anything. If you are mechanical, whether it be SAE or IEEE, whatever it may be, the idea is to volunteer time, work with mentors, experienced people who have walked the journey, seen the movie many times, and learning from them would really put you ahead of the game than anything else that you could think of. So that's really what I'm talking about. And the way to do that is to have a lot of curiosity. If you're curious, you would always spot the opportunities. Now, I'm not here going to tell you how to be successful in every MSME or whether it be IE or electronic, because I think you would do that well. But the insight I want to share with you is to, beyond the academics, what can I share that will be useful to you is really the main goal of my discussion today. So be curious and get involved in many organizations as possible. And then the Detroit and American culture. I think most of you are international students, much like me, so I could share some of the insights that I learned. So the biggest thing I want to share with you, you guys have taken the biggest risk in your life. What's the biggest risk? More energy, guys. What happened? You have uprooted yourself and be here in the US. That is the biggest risk you have taken. There is no other risk you're going to take the rest of your life. So don't reduce that risk taking, because many people I find, as soon as they come here, they stop taking risk. It's like uprooting your tree. You have already done that. So continue with that risk taking mentality, and I think you will be very successful. And I'm sure everything will be new to you. And then the way I would like to put it together for you guys is that I would like all of you to see the whole experience outside of your culture, because that's when you're going to be really successful. Whether you're from India, whether you're from China, any part of the country, don't try to do what you were doing before, because that's not going to get you the experience. You got to go outside of your culture. You got to go outside of what your thought process is and break those thought patterns, and that's when you're going to see many more benefits for you. And then obviously you have to experience the American culture and the life. And what's the point in coming all over several thousand miles and try to relive what you were living before? It doesn't make any sense to me unless it makes sense to you guys. So I would really encourage you to go and experience the real American culture, and that's really going to be very helpful to you because you need to be part of the culture. You can't, hang on to the old hat. And then obviously, I would, as the time that we spent here, enjoy the city. I think a lot of the graduates kind of talked about it. I don't want to repeat the same thing. So my thought is that experience the city, experience the great state of Michigan. It's known for its waters. And because 2-3 years will fly by anything. Because for me, 25 years have gone, I still remember walking around in the Wayne State campus, whether it be DeRoy apartments or Forest apartments where I stayed. I think some of the apartments are not even here anymore. So things will fly. And then the key point I want to share with the international students is really the communication. Because most of the people from overseas, they know how to read, they know how to crack the exam, but they just don't know how to communicate in a way people would understand. And as the communication experts will tell you, most of the communication is really coming from non-verbal cues. And so some of the things that I want to share with you guys is to really make a lot of eye contact when you talk to the people. Don't try to look down and talk to people because nobody knows who you're talking to. Are you talking to yourself? Nobody knows. So these are some of the tweaks that you need to make. And if you don't have that understanding, sign up for some classes, whether it be accent introduction classes or communication enhancing classes, whatever that may be, that if you add on top of what you're going to do in your graduate school, that will set you miles apart and really take you in a journey that you would have never imagined in your life. I think these are some of the changes that I would, if I were to do it again, I would do it. And so those are the things I want to share with you guys. And the most importantly, enjoy the experience. Because this experience, you'll never get it again. This is the only time you have this experience. You are young, you are not married, you don't have a life. I mean, you do have a life, but not that life. Okay, guys? So, enjoy. This is the stress-free life. If you can enjoy it now, you'll never enjoy because life is going to get complicated. A lot of things will come along the way. So to me, my school time was the best time that I could think of in my life. And so I want to tell you guys not to do the same mistake like I made. So enjoy every single moment because it matters. So now I want to shift and talk about how did a Wayne State grad become an entrepreneur and how did I make the journey happen. So as I left the Wayne State way back in '91 and I went and joined Chrysler, obviously I came here to pursue the American dream, and that's why I came to Detroit. I always wanted to work for car companies, so I ended up getting a job with Chrysler. I worked at Chrysler for about 13 years. In the 13 years, I moved around different areas of vehicle, whether it be manufacturing, product quality, warranty, you name it. And in the process, I moved around several different managers and directors. And so all of a sudden I experienced, I already hit the ceiling. Because every time I talk to my boss or manager, he will always say, okay, oh, you have done this, now you have to go to Japan and do this. I come back from Japan, the manager, Bob, would not be even there. So you say, okay, now you talk to Phil. And Phil will say, okay, I want you to go to the plant and do this. I come back from the plant, Phil is not even there. So the problem is that with the corporate culture is really, corporate America is really, it's a moving target. Your future is not dependent on you. As much as we think we do, but we don't. We are dependent on so many other people. So I decided to take things under my control. And as I hit the ceiling, so I asked my boss, hey boss, I want to leave Chrysler and start my own company. And the only question I asked him is that, hey, if I don't do well, will you ever give me a job? He said, oh, for you, anytime. If you do, so what's the worst thing that will happen to me? I go and try an entrepreneurship for 1 year, and then I don't make it. I can always come back. So my thought in process was that, okay, what's the biggest risk? There is no risk at all. Worst come worst case, I'm back at where I was. So how can that be a risk? So with that, it gave me the opportunity. So from a full-time employee, I started from my own petrol back then. It was about 10 years ago. So went back to Chrysler. I ended up becoming a major, Chrysler became one of my major customers now. And then I also bought a couple of companies. I did mergers and acquisitions. So with that, I got the scale. So all of a sudden, I ended up having 3 different companies with 3 different attorneys. Everything became 3. So I consolidated. I used the scale, got the company. So I think we are about roughly about $40 million company with about 500 people across the world. So that's where I am. So it all starts with sometimes you need to be upset. Sometimes you need to be pissed off. And if you're pissed off, things can happen. So don't be content with what you have. That's really what the lesson learned. Because honestly, if I were to look back, I had a lease car, I had a pension, I had a golden handcuff. I could be content because work 40 hours. Most of the time I finish the work in 10 hours. Because it's the same thing over and over and over. And so my input to you guys is that, have the curiosity and pursue your passion. And that's really what is important in life. And even though, it may look very good being seen as an entrepreneur, but entrepreneurship is not for everybody. One has to take a lot of risk, and there are a lot of challenges, and you need to have a lot of tolerance for risk taking, and there will be a lot of setbacks. Of course, there will be a lot of success. It's like with anything else in life, it's a risk and reward game. The more risk you take, the more reward you are going to get. And so one more thing I wanted to share with you is that because this really will help you to understand. Sometimes we cannot even go with the experts because the experts may not know the answer. The reason I say that is that a story that I want to share. So I had 3 companies. One was called Vision Tech Solutions, other was 3D Solutions, other was RSP System, the 3 companies that I bought. All of a sudden I ended up getting 3 different business cards. I don't know which card to give it to a customer. So one day I reached out to a marketing company and asked the marketing company, hey, come up with some names, something like one word that will grab people's attention, like Apple, like Google, like the Twitter. So the marketing company came up with 90 names. We paid $3,000 retainer, and it was not grabbing my attention, so I was very upset. I go home, and at that time my son was playing, so I asked him, hey Ash, his name is Ash, and I asked, can you throw me some names? So he said, Dad, you should call it Kaiba. I said, what the heck is Kaiba? And he came running and showed me a card. Dad, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. With this card, you can trump anybody. It is very aggressive. And it is very bold. I said, son, that's the name of the company. And he said, Dad, oh, by the way, don't call him exactly as is, because those guys will hit you with copyright. Change something else. So I took the Q, and the actual character is K-I-D-A, so I changed it to K-Y-Y-D-A. So the reason I want to share this story is not talk about me or about my son. It's really about sometimes the ideas are in your own backyard. Sometimes the experts do not have the answer. So don't think all the experts will give you the answer all the time. The answer is no. It could be right with you, and you may not even see it. So have an open mind and allow yourself, and the answer will come in front of you. So, and obviously I became successful. I want to give back. So like I talked about, getting involved in various organizations and everything. So one of the organizations I got involved is called KIE. It's the largest entrepreneurial organization in the world that is promoting entrepreneurship. So and I want to share a story a little bit later. So the TIE is focused on 5 pillars. Number 1 is mentoring. Number 2 is networking. Number 3 is education, incubating, and funding. And the reason I want to share this story is very simple. Sometimes in life, you don't know where and how things will work out for you. So I was not planning to get involved in this organization at all. In fact, I didn't even know what this organization is all about. So one day somebody invited just to, hey, come here and have some snacks. So I didn't have any expectation. The only expectation is to have some drinks and snacks for free. That's how I ended up there. So, ended talking to them. So they asked me, hey, what do you do? I said, I do this, do that. We need a marketing person. Can you help us with marketing? So I said, how much time will it take? Okay, a few hours a week. So that's how I got involved. So before I know, in 3-4 years later, I became the president of this local chapter. And that really changed so many things for me because it has really put me on a global map. So the point I want to share with you is that sometimes go with no expectation. Right? When you go with no expectation, amazing things happen. So I call serendipity. What is the probability of me going to that place? It is almost none. But then that one meeting, one incident changed my life forever. So now I have so much of connections you would not even believe. I don't even know how to handle them anymore. And so that is the power of networking, and that is the power of serendipity, and that is the power of not expecting anything. And let the universe, or whatever that may be, I don't want to impose religious faith, but whatever you believe in, it imposes on you, and keep doing the right thing and the good things. And then, obviously, we all make money. And we all become successful, so I felt that giving back should be part of what I do. So I formed the Kaipa Kids Foundation to really focus on girls who are orphaned, and then also young women, and provide them a lot of education and on-the-job training. And we do that both in India and the US. In India, we really focus on kids who are orphaned and don't have the parents after the school. So we give them on-the-job training. It really helps them get a job post-high school so that they become employable. And then in the US, we help with the local Detroit and a lot of tutoring and so on and so forth. Next one. So, who are millennials? Are you guys millennials? Yes? Yes, you are! Anybody born from 80 to 2000 or early 2000 are called millennials. You guys are shaping the whole country. How come you don't know about it? You should. So, the millennials are really shaping America, and that's why I want to take a few moments to talk about the millennials. And they have a strong entrepreneurial desire, and they have a mission to create and sustain social values. So they're really redefining America. So that's really the millennials. So with that, I want to take a few minutes to talk about the power of millennials. All these guys, do you know these guys? How, right? Yes or no? Yeah. These guys are shaping the whole economy now. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. He's a millennial for sure. All of them are millennials. Next one. And I just want to leave the stats with you. And the idea is to see how much power that you have. So according to Iconoculture, 35% of employed millennials have started their own business on the side to supplement income. Don't do that yet. Finish your course first, but then once you're done, start doing the side thing. Okay? Just because I said so, don't do that. The dean is going to come after me. And according to millennial branding, 90% say being an entrepreneur is a mindset instead of being a business owner. And Kaufman Foundation says 54% either want to start a business or already have one. And according to millennial branding, 60% consider themselves entrepreneurs with ideas, capital, plans later for ventures. And look at the last one. By 2025, millennials will account for 75% of the global workforce. Guys, this is a serious number. It has a serious impact globally. And so that's coming from the US department. So the point I want to share with you guys is this. So you are the Enigma generation, okay? Pursue your dreams and make the world a better place. As your Wayne State tagline says, aim higher. Don't settle. And always go for the edge. That's where the opportunity lies. Thank you very much for joining with you guys.